Beyond Horizons, Unveiling the Motives of European Exploration and Colonization. Introduction. In this episode of Rhythms of History, we embark on a voyage of discovery to uncover the multifaceted motives behind European exploration and colonization. From the quest for wealth and glory to religious fervor and the pursuit of knowledge, the motivations that drove European adventurers to venture into the unknown were as diverse as the lands they sought to conquer. Economic ambitions. Our journey begins with an exploration of the economic motivations behind European exploration. We delve into the desire to establish lucrative trade routes to the east, fueled by the demand for spices, silk, and other exotic goods. We also examine the search for new sources of wealth, including precious metals like gold and silver, as well as opportunities for agricultural expansion and commercial exploitation. Through the lens of mercantilism and capitalism, we unravel the intricate web of economic interests that drove European powers to expand their empires across the globe. Religious zeal. Next, we turn our attention to the religious motivations behind European exploration and colonization. We explore the fervent desire to spread Christianity to distant lands, fueled by the conviction that European civilization represented the pinnacle of human achievement. We examine the missionary efforts of organizations like the Jesuits and the Franciscans, as well as the role of religious orders in establishing missions and converting indigenous peoples. We also discuss the impact of religious conflict and persecution on driving Europeans to seek refuge and opportunity in new lands. Political power and prestige. Finally, we discuss the political ambitions and aspirations for prestige that underpinned European exploration and colonization. We examine the competition between rival powers like Spain, Portugal, England, and France for dominance in the New World, as well as the establishment of colonial empires and territorial claims. We also explore the role of exploration and colonization in bolstering national pride and identity, as European nations sought to assert their superiority and influence on the world stage. Conclusion. As we conclude our exploration of the motives behind European exploration and colonization, we are reminded of the complex interplay of economic, religious, and political factors that drove Europeans to venture into the unknown. From the search for wealth and glory to the spread of religious faith and the quest for political power, the motivations behind European exploration and colonization continue to shape our world today, leaving a legacy of conquest, discovery, and cultural exchange that spans the globe. Join us next time as we continue our journey through the rhythms of history, encounters across worlds, exploring the dynamics of European indigenous relations. Introduction. In this episode of Rhythms of History, we embark on a poignant exploration of the encounters between Europeans and indigenous peoples, tracing the complex dynamics of cultural exchange, conflict, and coexistence that shaped the course of history. From the first contact between explorers and native inhabitants to the enduring legacies of colonization and resistance, these encounters offer profound insights into the human experience and the enduring quest for understanding and reconciliation. Initial encounters. Our journey begins with an examination of the initial encounters between Europeans and indigenous peoples. We delve into the awe and wonder experienced by explorers like Christopher Columbus and Hernan Cortés as they encountered new lands and civilizations, as well as the curiosity and skepticism of indigenous peoples confronted with strange and unfamiliar visitors. We also explore the role of trade and diplomacy in facilitating early interactions, as well as the cultural misunderstandings and conflicts that often arose as a result of linguistic and religious differences. Colonization and conquest. Next, we turn our attention to the era of colonization and conquest, as European powers established settlements and empires in the Americas, Africa, Asia, and the Pacific. We examine the impact of colonization on indigenous societies, from the devastation wrought by disease and violence to the imposition of foreign rule and the displacement of native populations. We also discuss the resilience and resistance of indigenous peoples, from armed uprisings and rebellions to cultural preservation and adaptation in the face of overwhelming odds. Cultural exchange and adaptation. Finally, we discuss the dynamics of cultural exchange and adaptation that emerged from European indigenous encounters. We explore the blending of cultures and traditions through intermarriage, trade, and mutual exchange of knowledge and technology. We also examine the lasting legacies of indigenous contributions to European culture and society, from agricultural practices and culinary traditions to language, art, and spirituality. Through these examples, we gain insight into the richness and diversity of human experience and the potential for mutual understanding and respect across cultural divides. Conclusion. As we conclude our exploration of the encounters between Europeans and indigenous peoples, we are reminded of the complexity and nuance of human relationships and the enduring legacy of colonization and resistance. From the first moments of contact to the ongoing struggles for justice and recognition, these encounters continue to shape the world we live in today, offering lessons of resilience, compassion, and hope for a more inclusive and equitable future. Join us next time as we continue our journey through the rhythms of history, crossing horizons, tracing the impact of the Columbian Exchange on global trade and culture. In this episode of Rhythms of History, we embark on a transformative journey to explore the profound impact of the Columbian Exchange on global trade and culture. From the exchange of goods and ideas to the blending of diverse peoples and traditions, the Columbian Exchange reshaped the course of history, forging connections between continents and fostering a new era of globalization. Exchange of goods. Our journey begins with an exploration of the exchange of goods that characterized the Columbian Exchange. We delve into the transfer of crops, animals, and commodities between the Old World and the New World, from staples like maize, potatoes, and tomatoes to luxury goods like chocolate, tobacco, and silver. We examine how these new commodities revolutionized diets, economies, and lifestyles on both sides of the Atlantic, fueling economic growth and transforming societies in unforeseen ways. Cultural interactions. Next, we turn our attention to the cultural interactions that emerged from the Columbian Exchange. We explore the blending of languages, religions, and traditions as European, African, and indigenous peoples came into contact with one another. We discuss the exchange of ideas and technologies, from agricultural techniques and medical knowledge to artistic styles and musical forms that enriched and diversified global culture. We also examine the impact of colonization and conquest on indigenous societies, highlighting the resilience and resistance of native peoples in the face of cultural assimilation and displacement, globalization and transformation. Finally, we discuss the broader implications of the Columbian Exchange for global trade and culture. We examine how the exchange of goods and ideas facilitated the rise of global trade networks and interconnected economies, laying the groundwork for the modern world economy. We also reflect on the social and environmental consequences of the Columbian Exchange, from the spread of diseases like smallpox and malaria to the environmental impact of invasive species and monoculture agriculture. Through it all, we gain insight into the complexities and contradictions of globalization, as well as the enduring legacy of the Columbian Exchange in shaping the world we live in today. As we conclude our exploration of the impact of the Columbian Exchange on global trade and culture, we are reminded of the transformative power of cross-cultural exchange and the interconnectedness of human societies. From the exchange of goods and ideas to the blending of diverse cultures and traditions, the Columbian Exchange continues to resonate in our interconnected world, reminding us of the richness and diversity of the human experience. Join us next time as we continue our journey through the rhythms of history,